There it is. Yep. Good call.
I'll fix it later in post, but just go again.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't recording. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Not Content Podcast. My name is Jerome Cuson, joined as always by my colleague Brian. Yes, we are recording this time. Please leave a 4 or 5 star review so as to get people to discover this show through Apple or Spotify. Click the bell icon for notifications. Like and subscribe on YouTube. We are starting a brand new month, a brand new theme, as we are going to be getting very Eastery. We are going to start with Mallrats, and then we're going to get very Jesus-y with two musicals and a very controversial Martin Scorsese movie. As always, Brian, we are here to discuss the right match as well, being the first Tuesday of the month. But because it's Easter, we have to cover the death, or we have to cover the death and resurrection of the Undertaker.
Well, I went to Catholic school, so I know a few things. And from
I
the couple
also
of
went to
years that,
Catholic school, so we probably know a lot of the same things.
so I don't know the hymn or the song or the name of what's called, but I just know the phrase "Christ has died, Christ has
Yes,
risen,
yes.
Christ will come again."
I'm
And in this
sure we,
case,
I'm sure we
in it-
walked the Stations of the Cross many times.
yes, yes. And I was only in the Catholic school for 3 years, people, but that shit sticks with you. And
Catholics
yeah,
love their rituals. I just want to point out
yeah.
the White Sox were struggling. Pope Leo walked the 14 stations while carrying a cross, and then the White Sox swept the Blue Jays. So that should tell you everything you need to know.
Yeah, and the early rumor is that your boy is already trade bait, but let's not jinx that because if they can go on a run right now, they can carry that into the summer and not have to trade the dude.
We'll see how this all shakes out. But we're going to be talking about two matches, both involving the Undertaker and Yokozuna. We are first going to talk about the Royal Rumble 1994 casket match, and then the Survivor Series casket match because of somebody who was involved in it, which we'll get to in a few minutes. But first, we have to talk about the Royal Rumble 1994 match. A match, it's really not much of a match. Like the Undertaker and Yokozuna marginally wrestle each other. But then like 10 heels come out and beat up the Undertaker and shove him in a casket and basically kill him, right? That's the idea.
Right, and just to point out, this is like an unintentional 1 year bookended feud because it actually started at the Survivor Series at '93 because they were on opposite teams and they got double
Correct. Yes,
eliminated.
they both got counted out.
Yes,
The famous shot of the Undertaker taking off his jacket and revealing an American flag, which is technically a desecration of the flag. Just pointing that out.
I guess. Hopefully, it wasn't a
It
real
is.
flag they sewed in because if that,
I don't think it was,
well,
but there are certain rules for the flag, and they get broken all the time.
well,
And
there you go, folks. There you go. The Undertaker gets away with it because he's an American badass, apparently. But it started there, and Undertaker got hurt. So what happened was they had to like figure out how to
no,
get
he
rid of
wanted
him.
time off for his to like have a kid with his wife at the
I
time.
thought he had
That
like the bad knees at this point. That wasn't it,
nope.
man.
It
Well,
was about his get having a baby.
okay. Well, he's certainly hurting now at this point, anyway. I mean, the guy's like barely walking
Apparently
normal.
made some
Not just
terrible investments because the Undertaker was great when he wouldn't talk, and now he won't shut the fuck up.
podcast. That's what a podcast does to people.
Ugh,
Um, for the money,
awful.
apparently, because he
Undertaker should
switched
not be
people.
hosting a podcast ever.
But anyway, so he needs time off, so they got to write him off. And this is a title match, by the way, this first one. So the idea is, how do we protect the Undertaker in a title match? The crowd wants him to win so bad, right? It's such an obvious heavy favorite kind of thing, especially in a casket match. If you made odds for this match in kayfabe wise, like the Undertaker would be like what plus 1,000, right? You would think or something like that. So what happens? The Samoans come out,
I mean,
Crush
the
comes
problem is
out.
they marginally want Lex Luger or Bret Hart to be the champion, not the Undertaker, and this is what happens.
That's what happens when you book the Undertaker in a title match. You get these wacky finishes, which would be a thing with Bret at that title match at Royal Rumble the other year,
I mean,
'96.
somehow that finish is almost as bad. Maybe one of the most boring Bret Hart matches I've ever seen. That match is bad.
Because you don't work the Undertaker's leg, dude. That's just the thing. Like, you don't work it unless you're
The,
like Shawn
their
Michaels
match
and
at
run through
SummerSlam
straight five.
'97 was fine, but their match at the one night only show, that is definitively their best match by a wide margin.
For some reason, my favorite's the one at Madison Square Garden in '91 or '92, but that's because he was like so much in character in that match. It was such a different style of Undertaker compared to '97. But that's a whole different story. But in this case, I got a hot take here, and I feel like it's revisionist history that Undertaker and Yokozuna not necessarily was not like a big draw, but like their chemistry was this great thing. And I don't remember that at all as a kid. And I keep watching these matches, and the only thing that sticks out is the interference, and then later on Chuck Norris. So I think this revisionist history, I think, is tied to that Yokozuna documentary that came out, right? And they wanted to put over the Samoan family because of The Rock and the connections with
I have
all that
never
shit.
I don't like Yokozuna as a worker. I've never like he's like I understand that he has limitations, but the fact that he got to be WWF champion for 9 months speaks to just how poor things were in that company. Like he never ever should have been allowed to be the champion for that long. It's absolutely ridiculous. And like, find me the really good Yokozuna matches because I have not seen them. Like his matches were with Bret were okay, but seriously, who doesn't have good matches with Bret Hart? Because they don't exist. They just don't. I'm sorry. It's like this
I would
is.
say my favorite Yoko match is the Survivor Series wild card match, if that makes sense.
I
Because it
mean,
was
but
a
that's
little
not
bit of
because of,
everything,
that's not even because of
but that's not
Yokozuna.
because of
That's
Yoko.
because
I
of
know, but
everybody
that's
else.
like my most memorable, like whereas like everything went good. You know what I'm saying? And there was not a boring Yoko because as a kid, Yoko matches were like, okay, here's where I'm
Really
gonna play my
boring.
toys with a
Yes.
little bit. You know, I'm gonna have my own little match here while Yoko's on
Right,
TV.
because he's doing a stupid nerve hold, and that's going to be 5 minutes right there.
Yeah, yeah. And then, it kind of rubs me the wrong way nowadays about the whole, being a Samoan portraying a Japanese person. And
Right.
the,
I mean,
a joke
it's
that
really
my friend likes to do is like his favorite Japanese wrestler growing up was Yokozuna, right? And funny enough, his favorite Latin wrestler growing up was Razor Ramon. And then that whole irony comes into play, and that's kind of the joke nowadays. But
I mean, it's
yeah.
profoundly bizarre. That yeah, this match is like neither match is good. This match is actually worse because again, they wrestle for like five
Well,
minutes.
this
They
one
wrestle for
does
like
have the stiffest chair shot of the two because, like, I've totally forgot that Yoko takes a headshot or chair shot to the head. And they obviously rigged it, but it made a thud. So I was like, wow, they went out for that one. But yeah, I think he was being protected with his hair though, because he had that
so
massive padding too.
The Undertaker is dead, and what happens? They drag him from the ring, and smoke comes out, Brian, and we get a camera in the in the casket, and we get a promo. Are you ready for me to do a dramatic reading?
Oh, I'm ready.
So the Undertaker says, and I quote, "Be not proud. The spirit of the Undertaker lives within the soul of all mankind." Not McFoley. "The eternal flame of life that cannot be extinguished, the origin of which cannot be explained. The answer lies in the everlasting spirit. Soon all mankind will witness the rebirth of the Undertaker. I will not rest in peace."
And then
Does that bring
40
a
days
tear to your
later,
eye?
yeah, then 40 days later, I think they started doing the vignettes, right? Or am I just hitting the nail too much on the head on that one with the
I think it
40
was
days?
after WrestleMania. I don't think that. I think that
I think it might have been exactly 40 days, dude. Right? You never know. Unintentionally, they could have. Okay, so if you don't know what
I
we're
was not
talking about,
watching at that
folks,
point. I think it was post WrestleMania.
so just to explain the 40 days, it was the whole Easter thing is 40 days after Christ was killed. So that's the number, that's the Catholic number around Easter that goes around.
No,
So
Jesus comes back after 3 days. He goes up to heaven after 40 days. That's the
for
big
whatever, that's that. Yeah, sorry, it's been a while, but the 40 days is a thing. So that's why I brought it up.
unbelievable. It's hilarious to me
And do you know
that
who
this actually
who's the
happened.
guy that was hung up? Right? We all know
It's
this.
Marty Jannetty, right?
Yeah, and he wasn't in the Rumble, or was he in the Rumble too? Because that's what I
He
just
was
always
not
forget.
in the Rumble. This is the only thing
So
that he does on this
so
show.
they didn't want to double pay him. I get it. I get it. So maybe he
I
just
mean,
took
this
off
is.
afterward.
I mean, Vince McMahon had just been indicted at this point. It looked like he was going to the clink. In January of 1994, there are people in WWF that think he's absolutely going to the clink. That's why Jeff Jarrett is somehow inexplicably involved in this.
Yeah, and he just debuted. Like he wasn't even at Survivor Series the 2 months prior. He just debuted. So that was a really interesting dynamic, I thought, because it felt like, whoa, are they going to push this guy? You know what I'm saying? But then he got a slight push, and then he got the big push with Razor later on. But it ties into wink, wink, the next match because I guess if you need revenge on the 10 guys, I guess you got to pick one guy instead of having all 10 get their ass kicked, right? So they picked Jarrett as opposed to maybe Crush. which I
I
think
love
would have
that
been the
King
better
Kong
choice.
Bundy is one of the people that walks out, and King Kong Bundy was not one of the people that interfered.
I don't even think he was in the company at that point, was he?
I mean, it feels like half the. I mean, not half, but like Adam Bomb was an attacker. He was a babyface. Diesel had turned
Oh,
basically
legendary
babyface
Ray
earlier in the
Kabuki,
show. I mean,
Jinochi Tenryu. I mean, two
it is
random
it is
Japanese
so
legends.
wild to me that Tenru is involved in this somehow. Like, how the fuck does that? How the fuck
It's
does that
that it's
happen?
that war. It's the war connection that they had, and I
Oh,
think they
it's
were cashing in
brutal.
because they
Yes,
wanted those mercenaries on Luger, so they figured let's cash in with Tenryu, and then let's get I guess someone else, and they got Kabuki because they just figured we can't get Muda or something, or I don't know. And the dude was like, I don't know, I don't want to say his age, but way past his prime. But thank God the
oh
gimmick was
yeah.
covering things up. But
I mean, Great Muta had a match in WCW in this in 1994. He wrestled Steve Austin.
yeah, and I don't know, and they I guess because of that war connection, like I said, then if you don't know it as Wrestle and Romance. Uh, it's like a loose connection they had with the WWF. They had a talent exchange. I think when they went to Japan in '94, that's where they kind of used the ring, I believe, or something like that. So if you ever found that footage of Bret Hart versus Randy Savage in Japan, it's in that war blue ring. That's because they were that having that partnership. So little tidbit there. So this Survivor Series match, it's just much of the same. And from what we know of the Undertaker, the longer the entrance, the more he's trying to cover up for bad matches because he knows they're going to be bad. And
So I went to watch this on YouTube. It was 25 minutes, 8 minutes of entrances
yep, I
between
counted
Neville
it
and
too. I
Undertaker.
counted it too, and I was like, "It's one." Undertaker knows. That's why he had the fucking. I don't want to say Titantron, like the TV Tron split in two,
The
and then
Minitron.
reveal this giant casket because you realize, oh, Yoko can't fit in a regular
A
casket. They got to build the
giant,
big one.
not only a giant casket, but also a giant urn now because
Oh yeah, they had a
I
match.
guess he needed a bigger urn, which would become
Uh,
the focal point of 1995, the worst.
yeah,
Which is
yeah.
look, Undertaker wrestled Giant Gonzalez in 1993, and I would argue 1995 was worse.
Yeah, yeah. And let's
It's
not talk
bad,
about
man. It's really, really bad.
if you really think about it, 93 and 95 are essentially the same with this earn bullshit. So that's yeah.
Yes,
Undertaker's earn was like his title belt, pretty much, and that was like the whole
pretty
thing he was
much. And
defending.
Kama would melt it down, and I don't know. I
Oh
guess he paid the
God,
hose with it at one point. Well, I don't
something.
know.
Yeah,
So the
Chuck
gimmick of
Norris.
this match is it's the Undertaker's revenge, and Chuck Norris is the special guest referee. And basically, his gimmick is he's Chuck Norris. He doesn't say a word. He really doesn't move except when he kicks Jeff Jarrett. But this is he's there. He's there.
Did you notice he kind of did like a slight tip of the cap to Undertaker when he closed the lid, like as if he approved of his like revenge? You know what I'm saying? Like I thought that was a
Knowing
nice
what we
little
know about
touch.
Chuck Norris, I can't imagine Chuck Norris liking quote unquote Japanese people.
Well, that too. Yeah, that too. Wink, wink. If you ever want to get really like down, not like down into his character, but an idea of what he was like in the '80s, watch the Canon Films documentary. And there's a clip of him like totally having this conservative point of view on action films, which leads to the production of the Delta Force, which is kind of racist towards Middle Eastern people. But that's a whole different thing.
Incredibly
It's a
racist.
whole
I
different
mean,
thing.
here's the thing. I think Chuck Norris's recent passing brought up a lot of memories about because I mean, essentially, he became a meme in the early days of the internet. And I think the thing is that people like the idea of Chuck Norris. Like that's what they like. They don't like the person because he's an asshole, but like the idea of somebody who is such a badass. Like I get what the appeal is, believe it or not, because unlike a Sylvester Stallone and Arnold Schwarzenegger, he doesn't look like a badass in terms of his body type, right? He's not a hugely muscular guy. He's very gruff. He's got the beard. Like he's got kind of a rough facial features. Like you can look in his eyes and his face and see that he's kind of a badass. But like in terms of everything else, he's not a huge guy. And I think there is a lot of appeal to that. And I think there is kind of this everyman quality and this salt of the earth quality that people embrace, which I mean, it's obviously bullshit given what he believes, but like I think people mourned the idea of Chuck Norris dying more so than Chuck Norris dying.
I believe that. It's like the John Wayne effect. You know what I'm saying? I don't really want to get involved
I
in
think
some
that's a
personal
very that is a
politics.
very good comparison. Like obviously Chuck Norris is not
Yeah,
as big of a
I just
star,
want to
but
know
like
the
he has a
star,
lot
but
of
not
staying power.
yeah. The idea of the star, like you want to have that memory. And with Chuck Norris, of course, I lived that meme or whatever, what you want to call it, era in 2006 or whatever it was. And that was before Twitter and all that shit. I think it was MySpace that was spreading it around at the time. But yeah, it was just one of those ridiculous things that was just like all over high school. I guess nowadays it's 6 and 7 or something. And I don't want to get into that. But yeah, that was the thing. And there was like posters and like shirts and shit that came after that. There was like a commercial at the Super Bowl, I think, as a reaction to it. So it kind of revived his career. And what it got to an Expendables kind of gig, I think it was like one or two that he was in, and that was it. And I think it went back to like straight to DVD movies or whatever it was, and working international deals for private investors like he was doing in the '80s with Canon Films, and pretty much that same kind of model but modernized. And that's why you see him in those like straight to DVD movies with like Steven Seagal and all that shit. So, but he's mostly known for the '80s and '90s stuff. And if you go on Tubi right now, they're pushing the shit out of his stuff. And I'm tempted to watch some of it, even though it's a little iffy, but
It's not great. It is
the
not great
action
at all.
sequences are like very like rough and like cheap, but like one take kind of thing. So it's like do or die kind of action, like those kind of action movies that just have either the best action sequences or it's gonna have like the worst because they had like one take to take it, and that's kind of that category. So it'll be interesting because I've seen some of those movies. So,
But
but this match again,
something else I
yeah,
appreciate is the fact that the idea is that the more desperate WWF is, the more celebrities are involved. So you look at WrestleMania 10 and 11 and the amount of celebrities involved in both of those WrestleManias, it's ridiculous. And I could definitely see that even that still applies to what's going on currently, which I have zero interest in continuing that conversation. But the fact that Chuck Norris is involved here, like Leslie Nielsen being involved at SummerSlam, the desperation's there. I mean, even our Donovan at King of the Ring '94.
yep, that was the gimmick, man. I remember it as a kid very
Do
fondly
you
because
believe
I was
Jerry Lawler and Roddy Piper main evented a 1994 WWF show?
I know
That is
because you
unbelievable.
and I think my theory to that is because they didn't want to have Diesel lose to Brett, and they had that whole bullshit thing, and they're like, we can't have a DQ in the main event for Brett. You know what I'm
Well,
saying?
I think it was more about the fact that Neidhart doing what he did had to be before
That was the other
signing the belt.
problem. That was the other problem, and then you're stuck with like, well, then what's the main event? Because they don't want to put Owen in the main event, technically, right? They want
Right.
to put it with Brett, but they don't want to put him in the main event. That's the gimmick. So, and again, he wasn't in the main event with Brett at SummerSlam either. So
Or it's Brett's title loss was also not in the main event.
that's right, because the main event was this, and I thought that was kind of like some weird booking at the time. But when you hear the result as a kid, it's like, oh,
Bret
okay,
Hart
I'm
was
glad they
in
went on with
Bret Hart
Undertaker
was
going
in
on
the
last.
crossface chicken wing for 9 minutes.
I know,
9 fucking minutes. This
I
match
know.
is like it's fine. Like it's not terrible, but it's much better than Royal Rumble '94 because it actually has a story attached to it. Basically, the Undertaker's getting his revenge. But the issue that I always have with casket matches is the psychology is always screwed up because like there's no 3 count, there's no like ability to do like false finishes. It's just dragging ass to the casket, and especially because Yokozuna is not a thin fellow, like the psychology just gets blown.
Yeah, I get that. And there's some casket matches that I do like. It's the one from Lucha Underground because they did it like a hardcore match, if that makes sense. And I don't know if you remember that. It was like Phoenix and Mil Muertes.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was really good. And I've seen some other. I was live for one of them too, and they just do it very much like they embrace the theatrics of it more so than like
yeah.
AEW does. And then they mix it with the hardcore. So that's why I think like Lucha Underground did the best casket matches, to be honest. Besides the WWE, and WWE's casket matches have never been classics anyway, other than the memorable moments in it, right? Like the one with Shawn Michaels, you just remember Kane setting that motherfucker on fire, and then in
I mean, the
this one,
Undertaker Shawn Michaels casket match is probably one of the better ones. But even that one, like Shawn Michaels lost 5 years of his career because of it. So I don't know how good it is, but I
yeah,
mean,
and that's kind of more on Michaels for not knowing his ring positioning, I feel, but he just kind of lost track. You know what I'm saying? He probably forgot that the
I mean, he
casket
was
was
also
there.
on drugs too, so that doesn't help. Like he was,
Yeah, but he probably
he
just
had a major
forgot
drug
that it
problem,
was there.
so
You know?
something was going to happen with him
Right.
inevitably, and it was probably better that he wasn't
Well,
on
if that ain't a segue to Mallrats and Jason Mewes, um,
drugs. Oof,
hey, he's doing better, man. He's doing great. The dude's great.
he is doing a lot better.
He's
Yes.
doing a lot better. And if you listen to the commentary on some of those DVD commentaries from back in the '90s and 2000s, they were kind of like, red flags, as that dude was like fucked up in the background and all of them, right? Like, as I recall, like,
I mean, if you want, everybody should go listen to the first like 10 or 15 episodes of Jane Silent Bob Get Old, because basically he, like Kevin Smith, went through every like all the drug issues, like because it wasn't really something that he talked about. I feel like it was alluded to, but never like really discussed. But like those first 10 episodes were really fucking intense because he just went through all of his problems, like from the time that like it was an issue, like he was sober at certain points, but like I mean it got really bad in the 2000s, and the fact that Muse is still with us is kind of a miracle. But yeah, in terms of this movie, like Muse being involved in it was kind of a miracle because clearly they tried to remove him for Seth Green or for somebody else or Breckenmeyer or whatever, and it would have been a very different movie and not a good one.
yeah, there's something about the charm of like Jason Mewes in this stupid role for like independent comedy fans. Like, it's just something about it, iconic, and then they've kind of like, marketed it to the point where it's probably not even like worth marketing anymore. The Jade Pop characters, to be honest, I think they're kind of like dried out in terms of IP.
And there
Like,
is going to be another J Bob movie.
I know, man, I know. I'm gonna watch it because I'm a sucker for it, but it is what it is. But in this case, like, this was like, okay, you made your great movie in Clerks, you got to make another one, and now you got to do a studio picture, and you got all this pressure on you now to do the, to make a hit, right? Like, that was the key. You got to make a hit, and he failed, and that would be his reputation from then on, just like failing to live up to certain expectations, but kind of delivering on others, right? Because I feel like this movie delivers on a lot of like memorable moments, and I know you're like not as high as I am, but like, god damn, do I
Are
remember
you
this movie
kidding
a
me? I
lot.
love this movie. This is probably my favorite Kevin Smith movie. What are you
Okay, because
talking
I know you were a
about?
little down on it. It sounded like you were going to be a little bit down on it, but I don't
No,
know,
I
man.
mean this. I think this movie is
It
much
does
better
have
than
its
people
like
give it credit
questionable
for.
moments in terms of like,
I
uses
mean,
of
there's
like
clearly parts of this movie
language,
that haven't aged well, but there's any movie that you watch that was made in the 80s and 90s is going to have those moments.
and we've kind of accepted that. And it's more like, just don't follow suit, just laugh at
I mean, it's
the
not
situation.
okay, but it's just like it's part of the deal, you know?
Yeah, and I think this movie really works in terms of like the structure, because I felt like he really set up the first act really well, and then the second act is like all in the mall, and then the end of the second act is like they leave the mall, and then they go to the swap meet, and then they get told what to do for the third act, and then the third act is like the whole thing with the game show. So it was
Yeah.
like, it was a perfect like setup, right?
Yes.
A good structure. The call to action was right
And
there.
if
Let's go to
you
the
and if
fucking
you
mall.
and I know you mentioned this, but if you've seen the alternate cut with the other beginning, I mean, it's bad. Like
It's
the
basically the night
version,
before, basically.
right? It's the night before, and there's the incident, and it is 13 minutes, and it drags so much. I mean, the way that they do the beginning and they get right into the thing, it's so much better. Like in the first one, it takes them like 30 minutes to get to the mall, which is when you call a movie Mallrats, it should not take you 30 minutes to get to the fucking mall. Period.
Right. And I think this was saved in editing. And I don't think this was like Kevin Smith's edit too, because I think his original director's cut is that cut we're talking about. And then they cut it down. And then over time, I think he's realized that it's a much better cut
Yeah.
and a much better flow. Because I like this idea that like his first two movies like take place in this like day span, like a day in the life of kind of thing. And it breaks that when you do the night before and show all the shit that they were talking about when they're going to talk about it the next day anyway. So it's better off they just don't show it. You know what I'm saying? And that stupid outfit that fucking TS was wearing, that soldier outfit or whatever,
Oh
and
my god, it's so
the
bad.
lighting's not even good, and they have these weird shots on the roof, and I wasn't like feeling it because it looks kind of off. So it's just one of those weird
No,
director's
if
cuts
you
that
if
I'm
you
not
want to
for.
watch an exercise in futility, go watch the alternate open because it will make you appreciate just how bad or just what happens when you edit well and when you make changes at the last minute. Like sometimes that's a good thing. And I think this movie works for the most part. I think that Jeremy London is better than I remember him being. Like I remember watching this last year before Chronicon. I was like, Jeremy London isn't terrible. It's like he's like again, I think he's cromulent. Jason Lee is clearly the standout. Ryan Reynolds had the career that Jason Lee probably should have had, but I mean, this is a star-making performance, and in a world where this movie makes $100 million instead of $8 million, Jason Lee probably has an even bigger career. Like he still, like he still does Chasing Amy. He does My Name Is Earl. Like he still has a pretty solid career. But I can't help but feel like if this movie is a bigger hit, that he gets a bigger opportunity.
You would think, man, because it just seems like that was like what they were like telling the audience at the end. Literally, like this guy's like a fucking breakout star in the making, right? Like teasing that he was going to host the Tonight Show. That character, which shows you like the charisma the guy has. And let's not forget, this guy came from like a skateboarding background, um, transitioned into acting. Kind of was doing both, and then just found his footing in these Kevin Smith roles because he was able to find his like confidence, I guess, in acting because he's like relating to these characters and just was able to like, oh, I can cuss and act like a fool in front of everybody, and he gets away with it. And he acts like he owns them all, which is great. And he's got this attitude about him, and I can help but think like I think this character really influenced me in terms of like my dealings with customers throughout the years. And it's kind of mixed with Randall, you know what I mean? That kind of like edgy, like because I've talked back, even like in my current job, I've talked back at people just were giving me attitude. I'm like,
Oh
okay,
yeah, they're definitely going for
and
that.
I have no fear at this point. You know what I'm saying? I have no fear. So I can relate to some of this things that these dudes say in these movies, and it's probably because it's influenced me in terms of my attitude. But then when you get caught and you feel like you got to cover up, that's when you go back to Dante and you go into Dante mode, right? Like that's the safe mode. But again, it's like Brodie and Randall are the two that like really are so edgy. It just motivated me as a kid and kind of developed me into what my personality is kind of now. So that sarcastic, like kind of random, talk out of your ass kind of humor. So I totally relate to that. Um, and in terms of like the Jay and Bobness of it all, this is where they started teasing the Star Wars shit, I guess, because the Star Wars shit wasn't
No,
really the
Clerks
Jay and
was
Bob
definitely
stuff.
Clerks. They have. I mean, they talk about like the building of the Death Star, so that's always been in the
But
DNA.
that's Dante and Randall. I'm talking like Jay and Bob specifically focusing and being Star Wars nerds because that wasn't a thing in Clerks. They were just druggies and drug dealers. This is the
I mean, I
first
think
time
they
that
were
they
trying
kind
to
of
be a
admit that
little
they're
bit
nerds.
more. I think they were trying to be, I guess, a little bit more "quote unquote" family friendly, maybe.
Maybe, but it was just kind of like the first time I watched this, I was taken aback because I was used to the other characters being the nerds, and TS is not really the nerd. And then it turns out Kevin or Silent Bob is like a giant nerd. So that was kind of cool. And then they kind of lean into that more, especially in Jay and Bob Strike Back. So I really like saw this as like the starting point of their nerdy side, as opposed to just being the funky or the flunky drug dealer kids on the outside of the store kind of thing. So I
Right.
thought this was kind of like a step up of their characters. And of course, like Shannon Doherty, um, she's great, even though she has like 15 minutes of screen time, maybe less, and the rest of
She's
her.
perfect for this movie. Like, I don't know that
And
she's
then, yeah,
necessarily a great actor, but she is very good in this movie.
and then
She
it
does
sucks that she doesn't
exactly
say
what you
much at
want
the
her to
end.
do.
Yeah, she doesn't say much at the end. She just has like the facial reactions. You know what I'm saying? I wish she had like more dialogue at the end, but that's kind of one of my things. It's like one of my wishes coming out of this movie because it's like you want the audience wanting more. In this case, you wanted to find out what was going to happen between those two, especially, and they kind of showed you. But I kind of wanted more out of her because Brody just talks so much. You know what I'm saying? He dominates their conversations, but she strikes back with him and is able to like go toe to toe with him, which is a great dynamic. And of course, Linda, I forget her last name. Uh, Not
Linda
Florentine.
Fiorentino.
Florent, yeah. So this is one of her earlier roles, right? Because she would do other things, and then Meet Joe Black. I think was like what 2 years later or
No,
something
are
like
you
that.
talking about Joey Lauren Adams?
No, the TS's wife at the end, or
Claire
yeah,
Forlani. Claire
Claire
Forlani.
Forlani. I mixed these names up, but Claire Forlani, man, like she's really good in this. I thought, and 2 years later she's gonna be in Meet Joe Black. So
which
I thought it
is
was like a good,
hilarious. And
yeah. It's just like one of those things. Like wow, she went up to be almost a big star, but like did some work with like Brad Pitt, so
I
it's
mean,
pretty
not
cool.
unlike the story of Jason Lee, it feels like she was like teasing stardom, and then something happened. I don't know if I don't necessarily know what happened, but I mean, it's really weird and interesting sometimes what happens. I will point out that Renee Humphreys actually wrote a book. Oh, Claire Forlani is a Harvey Weinstein survivor. That's what I was wondering. I had to look that up.
I mixed up these women's names from the '90s in my
So I
head,
think
but
so. Claire Forlani is a Weinstein survivor, so that may play a role, kind of in her perspective, perhaps. I don't want to necessarily put words in her mouth, but Renee Humphreys, who plays Trish the Dish, she actually had a book come out last year, so that's pretty amusing to me.
yeah. And this whole thing about her being 15, it's very risque and probably doesn't pass now, but maybe in 2009, I think you could have got away with it. But um, yeah, very risque, and
Yeah,
the way she wrote the graph, or not the graph, but like the way she charted her conquests and the calendar with all the emojis and shit. That was pretty funny because that was like emojis before we knew the term emojis, I guess. But still,
I mean,
still
we've
fun
always
stuff.
had them in some form or fashion. We definitely have.
Yeah, but the way she did it was just great and coding and everything. And then of course the videotape. Um, I don't even know what the legalities of any of that is because it's all illegal. Showing it, recording it. I'm not even sure if Ben Affleck signed a consent form. I'm not even sure if Ben Affleck had a name in the movie. All I just know him is Ben Affleck and the dude from Fashionably Male.
I think it's Shannon.
Oh God, let's just call him the dude from Fashionably Male. But yeah, of course Ben Affleck.
But I
Um,
love the smell of
yeah,
commerce in the morning. I'm great line, and every time I walk into a mall, I still either say it or think it.
I do. I say that too, and especially if it's a crowded mall or like Black Friday, because Black Friday is really
I mean, that's the time to do it.
yeah.
There's a dead mall where there's a movie theater once in a while I will go to. I do not say it when I go in there because it does not smell like commerce in there.
Surprisingly, because one mall closed nearby, it actually improved the population of the other mall. So now it's really a steady mall. So we got a steady mall in my area, folks. So that's really cool. Woodland Hills.
Yeah, there is one mall that is pretty steady, and then there's one that's a little farther from me that is very dead. And there's a YouTube video all about it too.
Yeah. Stan Lee, his second cameo. I don't know if it's more than a cameo. It feels like a supporting role by the time he's
I mean,
done talking.
I think
Because
it's still a cameo. I mean, he's really only in one and a half
I mean,
scenes.
let's face it, a Kevin Smith cameo is like 3 pages of dialogue for some people. So you know what
Yeah.
I mean, like full
Also,
pages.
want to point out that Stan Lee does see the salesman.
Yes, he does, and I have yet to see it, and I don't know. It's probably my bad vision. I've seen other 3D images from those books, people. It's not just a vision thing, and I've seen those 3D images. For some reason, I can't see the sailboat, but it's okay. I've seen others. I've seen others. But yes, Stan Lee making shit up out of his ass. I don't know. I don't know if it's true or not that he created those characters out of his personal pain. I
I'm
like to
sure he
think it
did.
is.
I mean, Stan Lee is as much of a carny as any professional is.
That stuff about Doctor Doom was pretty deep, though. I gotta admit. But hopefully they
He's a
use that.
carny dude.
I know, but I want them to
He
use
is a
that like
worker.
line.
He's a
If they
worker,
use that
man.
in the new
He is
movie,
a
man, about Doctor
huge
Doom
worker.
hiding his pain beneath the mask, you know what I'm saying? Like that metaphor. Like they
I
gotta use
don't
that.
buy it for a singular second.
I don't buy it either,
Knowing
but
what I
I
know
like that
about
idea of
Stan
Doctor
Lee,
Doom.
it's a fabrication. It's a work.
And then of course Brodie's obsessed with like sexual parts. Like, is the thing's dick like rock too? And
It's so weird to me that this is the only movie where this has been a conversation point. Like all the superhero movies that we've had since, and it's never been a conversation point. I think part of it is because we've gotten so asexual in movies, which is a problem unto itself. But it's amazing to me that this has never come up again.
that's because Kevin Smith hasn't written anything for Marvel yet. So the minute he does, you know there's gonna be a conversation about the things thing.
I mean, he
Or
has written. Are you? What are you saying?
I'm
He has
sorry, I'm
written
sorry.
Daredevil comics.
For movies, not the
Okay,
comics or the one shots or the three pieces he's done. And look, I've read the Cacophony that he wrote for DC, and he made jokes. I mean, Joker was doing dick jokes, okay? So there you go. You know what I'm saying? He was doing this joke about bending over for someone, right? That's a total Kevin Smith thing. But he's in his 60s now, or 50s now, 60s now. But he's kind of outgrowing that, but he went off weed and now he's back on weed. So who knows? But he
Yeah,
seems
ever
good.
since his mom died, I guess he's been back on the weed.
But he seems okay. He doesn't seem like off the rails.
Hope so.
So
Yeah, because
he
he's
seems
definitely
okay.
he definitely has had a mental breakdown in addition to a widowmaker heart attack.
Which will give you a mental breakdown if you. I mean, the guy had it in his 40s. So
Right.
I mean,
Yeah. I mean, I
yeah.
guess the thing is that those kinds of heart attacks cause people to get fucked up in the head, which is understandable and reasonable. But yeah, I mean, Mallrats, very funny. The third nipple's funny. I thought it was a good size.
Do you
Also,
notice? Do you know
talks
who
about
that
a good
actress
time.
is? I forget her name, but do you know where
Yeah,
she's
she was
from?
in Three's Company. Yes.
She was the third replacement, I
Yeah,
believe.
we're gonna third replacement of Suzanne Summers.
Yes, the third replacement with the third nipples. That's kind of how I remember it. She does great. She does a great job, dude. Like she might not be like wanting to do it topless, but she's embracing it and having fun with it. And I
It's
think
a
the
very
idea
fun
of putting
one.
that third
It's
nipple
a
like
very
made
unique
her kind of relaxed. It felt like that relaxed her, right? And this is clearly a joke on Total Recall, right? Like that's clearly where this comes from.
one. Yes.
The third breast, third nipple, oh, thirds of everything. But yeah, fun stuff. And $50 for the service in 1995. That's I can see that happening. So,
Yeah.
and the idea
Good
of going to a
stuff.
strip mall and finding like hidden gems. That's true. That's a true thing. Just saying.
Oh yeah, I mean you do it all the time, right? Probably even more so now than more than ever.
Well, once in a while, strip places like that because they're very far in between here. So I'm more the thrift store side. But when I do find them, I'll be shocked at like especially video games. Like I mean, there are a lot of like video games out there for sale at these like flea markets and stuff, but they are hidden gems because people don't realize some of them are like limited, limited run. And if you've never heard of limited run, folks, look them up. They're a company that releases limited games on a very limited physical copy basis, and every time a game comes out, their value goes like through the roof after it goes out of print. So there you go, little advice.
All right, that's Mallrats. It's really good. It's still really funny. I still think it mostly holds up. I don't know. I give this an 8.5 or 9 out of 10. I can watch this just about
Yeah, I'm
any
at an
time.
8, a solid 8. It's grown on me a lot. It's influenced me. I really didn't embrace this Easter idea until recently because, like, I was trying to think, like, what are Easter movies besides like movies about Jesus? And then I just kept remembering, like, oh yeah, Jay and Bob are beating up the Easter Bunny in this movie. It's an Easter movie
Correct.
because it
Yes,
takes
they
place during
absolutely
the
are
same
beating
time.
up the Easter Bunny.
Yes, and they did that to protect. Or I guess Brodie was protecting them because if Brodie actually told him that it was Ben Affleck that kicked his ass, they would have beat up Ben Affleck and went to jail, and that would have changed the whole course of the movie,
And yet
and
it's okay
things would
that they beat
change.
up the Easter Bunny.
Yes, and the Easter Bunny was a little creepy. I'm not gonna lie; it seemed a little, I don't know,
Find me an Easter Bunny that doesn't look creepy.
or sound creepy. And I'm surprised there's not a horror movie
Like it's
about that. There
really
probably
weird to
is.
me how every Easter Bunny just looks creepy.
You know
Like
what's
it
the
just
creepiest one? Fucking Bill and Ted 2. Have you seen that?
yes. I
Where
mean,
they
I
go
think
to
they're all
hell?
creepy. I don't know that this one is any creepier than the others, but
Oh man, the bunny
yes.
from that was like a demon bunny, dude. Oh my god, that's like the one that gets me every time in terms of like evil bunnies, dude. It's the one from Bill and Ted in Hell. But yes, this is an Easter movie. We're gonna celebrate Easter today, I guess, for this recording. It's the day after, but we're still recording it anyway. And then it's just all Jesus month, but in a good way because we're not religious people. So explain the movies.
All right, so we are going to be talking about the two Jesus musicals that came out in 1973, that being Godspell and Jesus Christ Superstar. We are going to be talking about Godspell next week, Jesus Christ Superstar in 2 weeks. And then we are going to end by talking about The Last Temptation of Christ, which is one of Martin Scorsese's more infamous movies, I would say.
Oh yes, and it would go on to influence Dogma, which we'll talk about later on at a later date. We're saving that one for a special time. But
At some
there's a
point, it
major
will come up, yes.
yeah, but it's a major connection between the two, and it highly influenced one, or it highly influenced Dogma. But I don't know, there's some kind of attitude behind Willem Dafoe in that movie that just is so I don't know. It's a lot of what the kids call nowadays Riz, I believe.
Oh,
Um,
God.
you know what I'm saying? Like he's fucking just all over that movie, just like impressing all the women. You know what I'm saying? Acting like a fucking egomaniac, like total unJesus like. But that's what they were going for. So, and in terms of the musicals, I haven't seen either, but at first I thought we were going to talk about Godspell, this documentary from 2006 that involved like children in like a Jesus camp. And thank God we're not watching that because I watched clips of that years ago and that just
Oh
haunted me.
God,
So you know
dude,
what I'm talking about?
we will never review Jesus Camp on this podcast.
But you know what movie I'm talking about? I think that's the same
Yes, I
name.
have seen it before, but we are not
Oh
reviewing it because it's
God,
fucking
scary.
horrifying.
Yeah. So
It
yeah,
is horrifying. There is
yeah.
no fucking
Thank
way.
God. But two musicals about Jesus should be okay, and we'll talk about the whole Don Morocco connection as well.
Yeah, we are not going to review a 1988 Don Rocco match. That is, I have to draw the line somewhere, and that's
Yeah,
what I'm
and the
doing.
best one is like DiBiase, and that's like 4 minutes anyway. And you know,
Yes.
yeah, we'll talk about the connection with Superstar Billy Graham. That's where it comes from. So.
All right. So for Brian, I'm Jerome. Thank you so much for listening. We will talk to you again next week.